Hello, my name is Michael Swinford. I'd like to welcome you to this edition of the Veteran's Voice. We have a very interesting program for you today. We will be meeting a Mr. Tung Nguyen, and we'll be talking about the fall of Saigon, which occurred 40 years ago. This is a program where we answer questions and we talk about issues which have affected and still affect Vietnam veterans. So we'll be right back after this.
April 1975, South Vietnam. This day would not be like any other in its previous history. The North Vietnamese Army was closing in on the capital city of Saigon, or as it was also known, the Pearl of the Orient. The North Vietnamese Army and VC were mere blocks from the presidential palace. The onslaught of soldiers, determined to unite the two Vietnams, pressed forward, and desperate men and women were trying to find a way to leave Vietnam before the last vestige of freedom disappeared forever. Women were handing over babies to complete strangers. The only words spoken were, "Take my child to freedom." Those with money were bribing owners of small boats to sail towards the American ships standing offshore. Men cut themselves viciously to prevent themselves from being killed by the advancing troops. Fear, mixed with determination, was the order of the day. 6 blocks from the presidential palace was the American embassy. Hundreds and hundreds of South Vietnamese were trying to climb the embassy walls to get to the few helicopters still transporting American embassy workers and CIA Central Intelligence Agency personnel. Those Vietnamese who had worked for the Americans knew that death was preferably better than living under the communist tyrants. Boats in the ports of Saigon were overflowing with people. South Vietnamese flew their helicopters, laden with their families, towards the American fleet. The decks of the ships soon became overwhelmed with refugees. They ditched the helicopters into the South China Sea, crashing into the shark-infested waters, and swimming for their lives towards the American and any other ships available. As the American ambassador flew aboard the last helicopter to leave from Saigon, the war was over. In the aftermath, citizens that lived in the South were moved north to enter what were called re-education camps. The North Vietnamese took control of all positions of authority. The Viet Cong, who had been fighting the Japanese, French, and Americans, were not given any positions of authority as they had been promised. April 1975 was a sad day indeed. The country they loved now faded into history. Tears filled their eyes as they witnessed the death of freedom and their beloved country.
Our guest today is Mr. Tung Nguyen. He lives in Paducah, Kentucky, and we've known each other for quite some time, but Mr. Nguyen has a very interesting story to tell. Why don't you tell us first where you were born?
I'm born to Vietnam, right in Saigon City.
Around Saigon City?
Yeah.
And how old were you when you started thinking about coming to America?
I'm just, coming American that day, 1975, that's company took over.
Yeah.
And we come to, we end up to get out by the little ship, the Navy ship, the last ship, the last ship from the Navy.
Yeah.
And that's why we work in the base, And
so you work for the Americans?
The American and Navy, Vietnam Navy too.
Yeah.
They both mixed together.
I was stationed with the Navy at Da Nang.
That's right on the camp road. It's called Long Binh,
Long Binh?
Yeah. the south, you know, that's a chemical, you know, right, the west, like
How many
Vietnam.
were in your family when you were growing up? You have a lot of brothers and sisters?
I got total, I got 4 brothers, and they passed away in 1973, you know, and one old brother, and I got 3 brothers. No, I'm sorry, I'm got my old brother, young brother, I'd be made in 3, you know, and a boy.
So did all your family from way back, did they live in Saigon or around Saigon?
Yeah, my mom and daddy used to stay down there, this Da Nang, you know, they told the Da Nang side out there, the Nguyen. See, and they come in Saigon, you know, and they do the business, working, you know, stuff like that. And that's why they got, you know, and 4 boys and 3 girls, you know.
So they have, you have a big family out there. Do some of them still live in Vietnam today?
Yeah, Mom got my young brother and 3 sisters still down there.
You think they'll be coming to America someday?
I think too old. They don't, I don't think they want to go, you know.
So when you were working for the Americans, what did you do?
In Vietnam?
Yes.
I worked with the Navy, you know, for repair electrician and for a technician, you know, for the boat, stuff like that, and the base, you know, stuff like that.
So how did you find out the North Vietnamese Army had crossed the DMZ and were coming down the coast, capturing Hue and Da Nang and some of the other cities on the coast? How did you first find out about that?
See, what happened right here, I heard about it 1974. And they come through, you know, so much from to north and halfway, you know, from to Da Nang, come to the, you know, so very close.
Yeah.
And they just moving all the Navy, you know, move all the base, come to the base, you know, the chemical that they're into, you know, that's where I'm staying, the in Vietnam.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure the president didn't call us, you know, didn't call my my captain, you know, stuff like that, and that's the way. It's almost in 1975, 6 o'clock afternoon. No, I'm sorry, I mean about 2 o'clock afternoon. They called in, you know, tell everybody have to be go home and just, you know, we get freedom, you know, and everything, you know, freedom, right? But we don't think so, you know, freedom.
So you already knew that the North Vietnamese were not exactly like they seemed to be. Didn't some of the people in South Vietnam welcome the North Vietnamese?
And not really.
No?
Not really much, you know.
They understood the communist aspect of it.
Yeah, because all the military and, you know, this government, they already spread them out, you know. And I heard about it, and I see some, you know, in the all the news and stuff like that. It's all the military, they just pull all the, you know, military clothes out, and they just throw in the row, and they just find, you know, and get home and stuff like that.
Were you and your family afraid of what might happen?
My daddy and my mom, you know, that old, you know, that time, you know, very old.
Yeah.
He, you know, not afraid very much, you know. Whatever they do, they got to do, you know. We can't stop them, you know, they're coming at that time.
Well, the other stories I've heard about the fall of Saigon was that the VC thought they would be getting a lot of power when the North Vietnamese Army come down. The Viet Cong, or the VC, they thought they would be in charge of some of the cities and counties and all that stuff. But actually, when the North Vietnamese people or army took over, the VC were relegated to just simple position, not a authority position. So when did you and your family start talking about leaving Vietnam?
I've been working with Navy this side here, you know, it's about 150 miles from the house, you know. And I have to come to visit them in every month, you know. But my mom, you know, they stay in Saigon, I have to stay down the other side. In the other side, what they call another side, the west side, you know.
West side.
You know, about 150 miles from down there.
Were you watching the news as the North Vietnamese army were coming down the coast? Were you aware of how far they were and how close they were?
That time I lay all the afternoon, I just see, you know, the tank, you know, just come through and the front of the road, you know, to my base. Now, I didn't get out of the base yet, you know. And we find out going home, I don't know what I'm going over here, you know, came in the United States, you know, really. That time I'm just worried about going home.
Yeah.
You know, afternoon down at 6 o'clock, but all the road been locked up and all the bus can't move.
So did everybody try to get to Saigon, even from like Can Tho and other places?
Yeah, the Can Tho tried to get back in Saigon, you know, and all the road down there, they already put a dynamite under and plus, you know, and the bus, you know, they don't want to ride it.
Did you actually get to see the North Vietnamese army?
Really, I don't see them.
Yeah.
I'm just see them right through, you know, but in a row, you know, to the fin, you know.
So how did you plan your escape from Vietnam?
How I plan?
Yeah.
I plan going home. And I plan come nowhere, you know.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about too far away from after the time, you know. I just want going home and to see my family, you know, my mother, my father, and my sister out there. That's why I'm trying to get together, you know, my family before I plan something out.
Yeah.
That's my plan not come true, you know. And we just hit the last boat, you know, last ship, you know, come to the ocean. The middle ocean, you know, we don't know we lie and not, you know, we might die and, you know, we pick them up about, in the bay we got around about 30-some people, 20-some people, and 30, something like that. We pick them up on the road.
So you were in a boat? Was this a U.S. boat or?
That's a U.S. boat. That's a Navy boat.
Navy boat?
Yeah, they call you know, small ship, you know.
LST?
Yeah, LST, you know.
Which is a, what, landing ship tank, I believe they call it.
Yeah, all right.
So there was about 30 people on that LST?
Yeah, and that's one of the big one too. And we pick them up on the road, you know, in the river. It got a bunch of kids.
Now this was 1975,
1975. Right? That's afternoon, 6 o'clock we leave in Vietnam.
So did the Navy just volunteer to take you out to the big ships, or did you ask to go, or?
We tried to get in a U.S. ship, you know, but that's kind of too late, you know, the time we hit into it out there. And get dark. And, you know, there's LTD right there, you know, they can't, you know, get out of the ocean too far. You know, this area in the river, at the middle of the ocean, I mean, the end of the ocean, they can, you know, and get too far, you know.
So were you afraid when you got on the LST and you were heading out in the open ocean?
Yeah.
Were you scared of where you may end up?
We don't know where we're going. We don't got no map. We don't got no indication to go. And it's all the captain, everything up there, and sergeant, you know, we picked some up, bunch of them on the road. And, you know, and we don't got no idea where we're going.
You just know you want to escape the
Yeah,
communist
get
army.
out. We tried to get out to the chemtrail, you know, try to
Yeah.
fix on the way going in Saigon, you know,
Is
right
that down
back
in
to
the
Saigon.
Delta?
Yeah,
Canto down in the Delta? What they call the Delta?
Delta. Yeah, they the chemtrail, they Cần Thơ,
Yeah.
you know. That's why, you know, the ending.
So what did you feel like when you were in the boat on the ocean and you turn around and you look at Vietnam? What were you thinking about?
The way it just goes so nice, and a lot of military out there that try to stop us, you know, don't need to go, you know.
So they were telling you it'd be all right if you just accepted them as they were.
I mean, that time I try to remember, you know.
Yeah.
That's kind of wore me out in the ocean side, you know. And I never been ocean before, and we try to get around, you know, back going home, you know, in Saigon. But enough go too far because we don't got no map, we don't got nothing to dedication, you know, to show us to go, you know.
So you were just kind of trusting in God to get you where you wanted to be.
Yeah, that's why I'm telling God to get him. We end up to Korea ship, you know, the big ship for they pick us up and they take us on Korea. Yeah. They try to pull us, come through to American ship, you know, USA ship, you know, but too late.
Yeah.
You know, they already been go too far away. And
well, when you look back at the land as you were leaving,
yeah,
did you think you'd never be back or what?
That's why I'm thinking, you know, I don't know. I would like to, I feel like, you know, to come back home, you know,
yeah,
to see my family. That time I'm young, you know, only 19, you know, and
right.
I would like to stick around my family, you know.
So it's been a lot of years since they took the South Vietnamese flag down and put the red, gold star on the North Vietnamese. Yeah. Not only did you get away from Vietnam, but you lost your country and you lost your flag. Yeah. And that must be a pretty difficult thing to remember.
Yeah. Yeah, that's too hard for me, you know. And we worry about, you know, then around at home, you know, and family, how they treat them, you know, how they do to them, you know. That's what we worry about it too, you know, everybody we leaving.
So you were in the South China Sea in an LST.
Mm-hmm.
Then where did you get picked up from there?
I picked up from the Korea ship. You know, we ride back, we try to talk to, we try to get a semaphore, we talk to them by the line, we don't got no line.
So they use the flags to
they use the flag and the shirt, you know, we just talk to them.
Yeah.
And they pick them up, you know, they tell why they helped you, they try to call, you know, in Korea. And they tell, you know, Britain and Korea, you know, they tell they pick them up bunch already on the ocean side. And
so you actually ended up in South Korea?
Yeah, I mean, you know, South Korea, they really good people, you know.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Did they feed you and take care of you?
Yeah, they feed, take care of us, give us the T-shirt and this and that, whatever. You know, we need something, you know, they help us.
How long did you stay in South Korea?
I think around about almost really close to 2.5 months.
2.5 months?
Yeah, 3 months.
They treated you well, and then how did you leave Korea?
We got, you know, they weigh everybody, some people, you know, got family and friends and everywhere around in the world. And the last one, you know, for us, you know, that U.S., you know, come pick us up, you know, apply to Arkansas, you know, they used to be Fort Chaffee.
Fort Chaffee?
Yeah, you know, Fort Chaffee, the big base, you know, the old base, you know, they shut down.
Yeah, it was in Arkansas.
Yeah,
right?
Arkansas. And they bring us down there and then stay in the camp for a while.
But they treat you nice.
Yeah, they treat me nice. And
So how did you end up in America?
I ended up Paducah here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a sponsor, you know, we got all the single. I don't got no family, all friends single. We get together, you know, all the good friends, you know, 5 guys for one family. And the church, you know, from St. Mark and the Husband Road, they got the one old man sponsor us, you know, come to Paducah here.
So
And,
what do you think of Paducah in the United States?
Yeah, that's why I got freedom, you know. I come looking for freedom, you know, and
Yeah.
come over here to study English really quick to get out to do some work, you know, and you know, make a, you know, get a roof cover, get some food and table. That's what we're looking for.
You just want to be free.
Yeah, be freedom. And we're waiting for everything. And government, you know, Vietnam government let us go home to see family or not,
Yeah.
you know.
So you can go back to Vietnam and visit
Yeah,
now?
I've been away almost 17 years before I see them.
Are they doing well?
Yeah, and I come back, you know, and my mother still alive. My daddy passed away after, I think he passed away 7 years later before I get home. And I see my mother, I see my family.
So what would have
I've been
happened
happy.
to you had you stayed in Vietnam and not come to America?
What happened?
What would have happened to you? You think they would have sent you to the re-education camp or something
No,
like that?
I don't think so. They should be freedom. But they give you the visa for so long. And I mean, this not now, this kind of, they give us really easy time, you know.
Yeah.
I can stay down there for 6 months. I come back to United States, you know, for 2 to 3 months. I depend, you know, how you think, you know, and you come back again, see them. But they used to be, when I came down there, they used to be keep an eye on us, you know.
Yeah. So freedom
well.
feels pretty good to you.
Yeah, I believe this, you know, everywhere, not now, you know, everywhere in the United States, I'm going. I got a job,
Yeah.
you know, I'm working.
So
you
you're
know,
sort of living the American dream.
That's American dream right there, you know. And, only thing, you know, we homesick lonely around, you know, the family, and you know, from far away from here.
What is your opinion on the fall of Saigon? Do you think that the people in Saigon resisted the army coming from the north? Did they try to fight back or what?
No, I don't think so right now. They're not very strong, you know, to get into. And
well, didn't the Americans promise that they would help the Vietnamese people, and they didn't do that? Wasn't there some promises broken between the Vietnamese government and the United States government?
I'm really, I just see all the news, you know, every night from down to California.
So
And
you
all
knew
the
in your own
news right
heart,
there.
you knew in your own heart that the North Vietnamese were going to take over Vietnam. That's why everybody went to Saigon. And
Yeah, not now. That's all in Vietnam, you know. That's combined together. You not now, you know. That's don't got no south and north. All is south and east and west for the all the Vietnam right now.
So do you think Vietnam will be a better country now, or?
I hope to.
Yeah.
I would like to, you know, the better they can get into, but they come to live, you know. They mind, you know. They do what they got to do.
Yeah.
And the way, you know, thinking, they not, you know, really fair, you know, for the poor people, you know.
Mr. Nguyen, it's been a pleasure having you here and listening to your story. Personally, I'm gratified that you were able to get out and come to America where there is freedom. Would you like to say anything to your Vietnamese friends?
I would like to see all my friends, you know, my old friends, stuff like that. They happy to be here, you know, and now everybody got family now, married and got a kid and family. The time
Would you like to speak that in Vietnamese so they can?
I'm trying to speak, you know, in Vietnam. Tôi cảm ơn các bạn ở bên Mỹ, đất Mỹ này, người Mỹ nó sẽ giúp mình tới nơi đến chốn có công ăn việc làm, có đời sống. Tôi cũng cảm ơn nước Mỹ ở đây. Thì quý bạn cũng, quý cô, quý bác, quý bạn này nọ cũng vui vẻ ở Mỹ này. Cái gì ở Mỹ này nó là cái freedom lúc nào nó cũng có sẵn ở đây. Thôi cảm ơn các anh chị và các quý bạn và các bác chú. Con gửi lời thăm hết những cái người đồng hương ở đây. Okay. That's all.
Well, thank you, Mr. Nguyen, for your time and your story. I find it very fascinating. I'm glad you made it. I'm glad you're living in America where you're free to do essentially what you want to do. I wish you and your family well, and maybe we'll talk again around Tet next year, because Tet was a very big thing to do in Vietnam with your ancestors and whatnot, and very impressive ceremony. So maybe we'll have you back again to talk about some things. And again, thank you for being our guest today on the Veterans Voice, and we wish you the very best and live in freedom and enjoy the American way of life.
Thank you, everybody, and thank you for coming here to share everything, you know, what I know, what I got, you know, what I'm feeling, you know. And that's it I can tell, you know, now. This smile, you know, right now, that's kind of my head, you know, still go around too much. I can think about my lady just passed away not too long, you know. That's why I'm can't think it too hard no more. And
well, we're about finished, but I want to invite you back sometime, and we'll talk again.
Thank you. I will, and be there with your guys.
All righty.
Thank you very much. Good to see you.